Over 100 days of conflict, leaving nearly 2 million people displaced, thousands of homes destroyed, and nearly 24,000 dead. The Israel-Hamas war erupted on October 7th, and its impact has spread throughout the world. In this country, there's been protest and turmoil on many college campuses. In mid-November, the Education Department's Office for Civil Rights opened investigations into alleged anti-Semitic and Islamophobic incidents at U.S. colleges and universities. The investigations involved alleged violations of Title IV of the Civil Rights Act. The act prohibits discrimination based on race or national origin. Meanwhile, university leaders are struggling to balance free speech with student concerns that protest language is promoting violence.
It's important that, as a university, that you err on the side of free speech, or let me phrase this, that you don't do things that are going to actively stifle free speech. But you also want to ensure that speech, when it is carried out, is done in a manner that's respectful and civil.
A pro-Palestinian campus group, Students for Justice in Palestine, has been suspended from at least 4 universities in the past few months. These include Columbia, Brandeis, George Washington, and Rutgers. The universities accuse the group of disrupting classes and intimidating students. A handful of other schools have shut down student groups and disciplined students for speaking out. Some alumni at various universities have started do not hire lists that include the names of students who've been involved in some of the protests. And in some cases, outside university groups have also published negative information about students online. The result of all of this is that some students are afraid to protest due to concerns for their professional future and personal safety on campus. A Muslim DePaul student who asked to remain anonymous for privacy reasons said there was a specific instance on campus when she felt unsafe due to the current conflict in the Middle East.
One instance that comes to mind is I was walking on the Lincoln Park campus, and it was after one of the protests, and I was wearing a kufiya, which is a traditional Palestinian scarf, and someone actually spit on me. It was a very disturbing experience. They called me a terrorist, and it was really disturbing just to experience that. I know that I'm not alone. Several students on both sides have experienced similar kind of awful experiences.
Danielle Tsvilikhovskaya is the co-president of a Jewish group, DePaul Hibbard. She spoke about an incident that a member of her executive board experienced.
And we have people on e-board who have told us they've overheard a conversation that somebody's Jewish and someone's come up to them and said, "Oh, then you're a genocide lover." Just because she was Jewish, and she doesn't say her stance or what she believes or anything, but solely because the person overheard she was Jewish, she was called a genocide lover.
DePaul's president, Robert Manuel, released a statement to Good Day DePaul saying that, "In this difficult time, I reaffirm our support for all members of our university community. In particular, I want our Jewish and Muslim students to know we will continue to work tirelessly to ensure that we remain a safe, nurturing space for all." Although the university is saying they're striving to keep students safe, some students feel that more needs to be done.
In terms of safety, I would say that I don't think much is being done at all. I don't think there are any shifts in what we've had since earlier this year when there were lots of robberies on campus. I don't think there's been a specific focus from the university regarding safety of students from both Muslim and Jewish backgrounds.
The co-president of DePaul Hibbard, Danie Shvartsman, thinks the university is making some small strides in supporting and protecting students.
Today, we found out that a bunch of the things that we were talking to them about, for example, reporting not even just anti-Semitic hate crime, but also Islamophobic hate crime as well. Now there's a way to report that, which is super, super big, even though it seems like such a small thing.
Support for Muslim and Jewish communities from university administration has not only been a concern for DePaul students, but for many across the country. A congressional hearing by the Republican House back in early December provoked severe backlash and repercussions to 3 elite university presidents. Claudine Gay of Harvard, Sally Kornbluth of MIT, and Elizabeth McGill of the University of Pennsylvania appeared at a hearing on Capitol Hill to speak about university governance during a crisis. All three said they were horrified by anti-Semitism and were taking action against it on campus. But then, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik asked them if calling for the genocide of Jews violates their university's rules on bullying and harassment. Many felt their responses were somewhat guarded and legalistic as they mentioned free speech concerns. To many Jewish students, alumni, and donors, their answers failed to meet a political moment by not clearly and forcefully speaking against anti-Semitism. In the following weeks, under tremendous pressure, Presidents Gay and McGill announced their resignations. The entire controversy underscores the pressures facing college administrators.
Universities are committed to free exchange of ideas. They're committed to free speech. They're committed to the rights of students to protest. And that conflicts with, the corresponding obligation to protect all students on campus. And so the conundrum is that in responding to the protest in the aftermath of October 7th, university administrators are in some respects forced to choose sides between your Palestinian students or your students, supportive or critical of the Israeli policies and those that are supportive of it. And it's a really untenable position, and they're getting all kinds of pressure from outside, outside groups, donors, what have you.
As the Israel-Hamas war continues in Gaza, protests are still occurring on American campuses. Protests that show no sign of ending. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Michaela Wilson.